The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The United States is alarmed over reclamation projects in the Manila Bay that are linked to a Chinese company. The U.S. Embassy in Manila said the Chinese communications construction company is on top of the developments and is on America's entity list. The U.S. list includes companies being closely watched for helping Beijing's military construct artificial islands in the disputed waters. The U.S. Embassy added that the company flagged has also been cited by the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank for alleged fraudulent business practices. The Chinese company has yet to comment on the embassy's statement. For its part, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources has vowed to look into reclamation projects in the Manila Bay.
There are concerns not just expressed by the U.S. Embassy but by others as well, not just for the ecology of the possible impacts to the ecology, but also for the cultural and historical impacts of the changes that could take place given the history of Manila Bay. What the DENR is espousing and what we are about to do, we will be conducting a cumulative impact assessment of the reclamation projects.
Meantime, the DENR is pushing for a whole-of-nation approach to resolve the country's problem with plastic waste. Environment Secretary Tony Yulo Loizaga noted that the Philippines generates so much garbage per day, many of which are shopping and thin film bags. Loizaga reiterated the importance of recycling and upcycling. The European Commission had earlier pledged $60 million to the Philippines as it transitions to a green economy.
Solid waste po natin. The Philippines generates about 61,000 metric tons of solid waste daily. No? About up to 24% of these is of course our plastic waste. Lahat po ng mga plastic yon, sinisikapan po natin that they will not reach our marine areas. We also manage the waste that is part of the generation of the products, particularly itong mga plastic waste po natin. We need a whole of society approach.
In other news, Aboitiz Equity Ventures or AEV Incorporated and Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners or CCEP want to jointly acquire Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines. The purchase is worth $1.8 billion or around 99 billion pesos. The deal to acquire Coca-Cola Philippines will be on a 60-40 ownership structure between Aboitiz and CCEP. Aboitiz revealed that it has already signed a non-binding term sheet and is currently in advanced discussions with CCEP on the potential joint transaction. Once the definitive agreements are sealed, the joint venture is expected to close at the end of fiscal year 2023. Moving on, the government is looking at importing some 1.3 million metric tons of rice, just as prices of the staple begin to go up in wet markets. Now, while the Agriculture Department assures that the Philippines has enough supply for now, there is a need to augment it before the local harvest season starts in September or October. The push to import comes on the back of a warning from the Federation of Free Farmers that September will be a critical month for the country's buffer stock. Even President Bongbong Marcos has already raised concerns over the grains output from the agriculture sector after Typhoon Egay hit and before the full impact of El Nino kicks in. As early as now, prices of rice have started to go up in Metro Manila's wet markets. The local variety goes for as much as 37 to 49 pesos, up by 1 or 2 pesos. Important rice is now selling for 41 to 58 pesos per kilo, or an increase of as much as 3 pesos a kilo. The DA says that the hike in rice prices comes on the back of more expensive fertilizers and fuel products. We have more stories coming your way after this quick break. Stay with us here on One News. You're back on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. 8 volcanic earthquakes were detected from the Bulusan volcano in Sorsogon on Tuesday. Let's get an update from FIVOLC's Director Teresito Bacolcol, who joins us now over the phone. Katoto, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. How likely is a phreatic eruption from the Bulusan volcano?
Well, there is always this possibility that there will be a phreatic eruption, because when you say phreatic eruption, it's just hot material coming in contact with water. So the possibility is always there.
All right, and as a result of that, or having said that, will the alert level be raised with Mount Bulusan?
No, I don't think so. Again, we are still looking at the parameters. We'll assess this on a day-to-day basis. And in fact, between 5 a.m. This morning and 4 p.m. Today, we did not record any volcanic earthquake.
All right, that's good to hear. Let's move on over now to the Mayon volcano in Albay. Have there been any further abnormal or increased volcanic activity that should be a cause for concern?
Again, Mayon volcano is still on alert level 3 since June 8, and the effusive eruption of Mayon volcano, which started last June 11, is still ongoing. And between 5 a.m. yesterday and 5 a.m. today, we recorded 57 volcanic earthquakes, which is lower, much lower than the 257 volcanic earthquakes that were recorded between July 31 and August 1.
All right, a lot of the concern around the Mayon volcano is not anymore a explosive eruption, but rather ash falls, or more importantly, lahar flows. What with the weather? Are we still on alert, Katoto, about possible lahar flows around the Mayon?
As of now, the weather in Mayon is quite is sunny, and but of course, there's always this threat of lahar if there are torrential and continuous rainfall.
All right, Katoto, since we're already on the subject, allow me to ask about the situation in the Taal volcano in Batangas. Of course, not too long ago, there was also some activity recorded. I think there was some ash flow or ash fall around the Taal. What's the latest on that volcano?
You're probably referring to phreatic eruption in Taal volcano. There were no ash fall. Between 5 a.m. yesterday and 5 a.m. today, we recorded 7 volcanic earthquakes. Much lower than the 40 volcanic earthquakes that we observed between July 31 to August 1.
All right, thanks for that good news and for taking the time out to talk to us this afternoon. FIVOLC's Director Katoto Teresito Bacolcol over the line. Thank you, sir. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has submitted to the House of Representatives the Marcos administration's 5.768 trillion peso budget for 2024. This fund is supposedly 10% higher than last year's or this year's budget. Getting lion's share of the national coffers for next year is the Education Department, with a proposed funding of 924.7 billion pesos. More than 2.5 million people have been affected by Typhoon Egay, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC. This is equivalent to more than 680,000 families. The death toll from Egay's onslaught is now at 27, with 13 people still missing. The damage to agriculture is now pegged at 1.9 billion pesos, while damage to infrastructure is at 3.5 billion pesos. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has been hit with yet another round of criminal charges. The most recent ones arose from his efforts to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential elections. The 4-count indictment alleges that Trump conspired to defraud America by preventing Congress from certifying Biden's victory. Trump's camp called the indictment political persecution and is reminiscent of, quote, Nazi Germany. One News Now will be back at 6 p.m. with the day's latest stories. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.